It's the Underpowered Hour. On this week's show, Dakar is almost done, and we give you an update on how the Land Rovers are doing. We talk about the UK's GDP, and Ike does a New Year's run. And now, here's the show. Welcome to the Underpowered Hour. I'm the ProDrive built race car to Ike's stock vehicle. I'm the 2026 Dakar winner of podcasting, Steve Beres. Find out more about our cars and what we're working on at theberescollection.com or follow us on Instagram at theberescollection. I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Ike Goss.
Thank you to everyone joining us today. I own and operate Pangolin 4x4 in Springfield, Oregon, where we live and breathe Land Rovers. Check us out online on Facebook, Instagram at Pangolin 4x4. Let's get started.
Well, what is happening over there in the desert?
It's interesting because there are, 45 different classes in the Dakar, because if you are interested in running in the Dakar, you can propose a class and they will just set one up for you. Maybe the most obvious one there is our friends at the Jaguar Land Rover. They have, of course, the stock class, of which the Land Rovers are teams 1, 2, and 3 of 7 total teams. And they're surprisingly, I know this is going to surprise you, they are winning their class currently.
They're winning their class. Wow. What are the standings and who else is still competing in their class?
Well, there is a Toyota that is still competing, and the Toyota is doing fine. There are 2 Toyotas competing, and one other car, I believe it's like a Fiat Panda or something. It's not like some random ass cars. The disparity is somewhat stark. Now, as you said earlier, as we were getting ready, it has been confirmed that Mr. Stefan Peter Hensel, did in fact roll his car out of that thing. So,
yeah, I saw a video of that, and then I saw some panel replacements happening. That was kind of interesting. And then I saw another photo of one of the Defenders, and it had been damaged in the rear quarter panel pretty significantly.
Yeah.
So I don't know what caused that incident. It's interesting for so much video and photos coming out of the event. There's so many things that I feel like are missing
that you just don't know.
That record. Yeah.
Well, you'll be glad to know that the stock Dakar class is down to only 4 competitors now.
There's only 4 competitors.
Those random 2 cars, and we lost one of the Team Land. Yeah, they have withdrawn. We now have the 3 Defenders. And there is a gap of 1 Toyota Land Cruiser between the top 2 Defenders and the bottom place, Stefan Peter Hensel. Part of the reason that Mr. Peter Hensel is running so far behind is because he's currently racked up 24 hours and 9 minutes of penalty.
Whoa.
Yeah,
and they do give you penalties for all kinds of stuff.
All kinds of stuff.
Speeding in areas where you're not supposed to be speeding, and not starting or stopping at the right times, or there can be a whole ton of litany of various things that can cause penalties. So, I'm sure that's not a reflection on his driving, which is clearly excellent. He's won a lot of Dakar races. He's a major Dakar racer, a celebrated legend, if you will, of the Dakar sport.
But it looks as though if things continue in this trajectory, as long as the Toyota team doesn't rack up 23 hours of penalties between now and the end of the race, that they will podium in 3rd place, and the Defenders will lock out 1st and 2nd place.
By the time this airs, we'll know.
Well, no, it'll be done. And of course, the one that we're maybe the most interested in is our friends over in the Dakar Classic, where
Dakar
you'll
Classic
find
is I feel like really captures the essence of the event.
100%.
At least for me.
Yeah.
More than the current spend-a-thon, we'll call it.
I mean, it's interesting to see, like, if you go to the car class and you look at the class that Ford Racing is in with Carlos and those sort of things, like, those are $1 million race cars. They're purpose-built for Dakar. They're not even a trophy truck that you would run in Baja. They're completely separate, specially designed little car, and they're amazing. I mean, they're engineering wise, incredible. But it's a different kind of sport, right? It's sort of like comparing Formula One to a weekend stock car race.
It is cool that you have this huge breadth of racing within the same event. You've got motorcycles, you got side-by-sides, you got giant trucks, you got cars. Like, I think the diversity of racing is really interesting.
Super cool,
but I feel like if you look back to those earlier events, like, it's mostly privateers. There's not a lot of factory entrance.
Friggin' bombing across the desert.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. And I think the classic category is pretty interesting for that way. And it's obviously more approachable. There's a lot of entrants, and the competition is still quite fierce.
There is 91 cars racing in the classic.
Yeah.
And that's just the ones that are left. 91 cars currently racing still in the Dakar Classic. And of course, led by our hoping to be friends, the team in the Series 3 station wagon.
Yeah, these guys are tearing it up. They're really turning in another great performance, both in terms of navigation and driving.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see this Series 3, which has basically the same suspension as a Series 1 long wheelbase. Like, it's the same.
Yeah.
I think that suspension started in 1954.
Yep.
So you've got basically a car with a 1954 suspension that's just like destroying all these cars that are much, much more mechanically advanced.
Well, and the funny thing is the next three teams after them, so second, third, and fourth place, are all Mitsubishi Pajeros.
Cool.
Yeah,
those things are dominant. You know, they have more recorded wins, I think, the Pajero does than any other 4x4. They're really an impressive performer out in this event. But, you know, the Series 3 is doing really good.
It is in 9th place right now, still very good.
Yeah, there's a Defender, there's a few Range Rovers, and then our friends, the Gazelles, we've been following them. They are in their first event, and they're down the rankings. And they're in
81st place. And, you know, the interesting thing about the Dakar Classic is they assign points in reverse. So you actually it's like golf. You want the lowest score possible. They have a 36,608 compared to the Series 3 team with 715. So it's a bit of a gap.
There's a little bit of a divide there, but I still think that I am impressed by their performance, you know, to basically build this car themselves and enter this event without any previous car experience and really stick with it. I'm impressed.
They, Marcelo, look as though they are having the time of their lives. They're absolutely have maintained their fabulous sort of persona throughout.
Composure.
So that has not dwindled at all. If anything, it's defiantly fabulous, I would say, is probably how that team would be described. And they're doing great. And you know what? They look like they're still having a good time. I think they've had mechanical issues with the car, which is insane to think, because they're driving a Defender, that the Series 3 is still the most reliable car out of this entire ranking. It's incredible. Do you know what engine they have in that Series 3? Is it the 4-cylinder or is it a Rover V8?
I think it's a 3.9 liter Rover V8.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're in the like pre-75 class.
Carbureted and the whole deal, yeah.
They're in the pre-85 class, but the 3.9 liter is post-85. So I don't know how the rules work around that.
Oh, interesting. You could have gotten it in a Rover car at the time, could you not? No?
Not
just
3.
not even, don't even, not the 3.9 liter. That's true.
3.5 would be in the Rover car.
That's right, the 3.5 liter.
Yeah, so 3.5 liter. So I'm curious about that, and I'm curious about the rules around that. I have to look into that, but it seems interesting for their class. But it doesn't really matter because they're, I think, winning the overall. Is that right?
For the Classic, they are currently, I wonder where they rank overall. So they're probably ahead of some of those giant trucks, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be pretty interesting to see.
It'd be pretty cool to see where they are, but you can't win the Dakar in a car anyways. You have to win on a motorcycle because the motorcycles.
This is really the year of the Land Rover for the Dakar event.
Yep.
They've really come storming back with a really impressive presence in the stock class and the classic class. Now, I think it's pretty unlikely that we'll see them in the ultimate class.
It's probably unlikely. It's unlikely. But
Mini, oddly, is in the ultimate class, I believe.
It is. And that Mini looks insane.
It's just like a monster truck. It's a little mini body on top of this.
That's right. It does. It looks like if you took a micro machine and scaled it up to full size, it's just like the proportions are all weird.
It's
cool.
Max.
Yeah. And if you follow Superbike at all, American Ricky Barbeck is first overall in the motorcycles. So,
dude,
which is not an easy thing to do, man. I mean, riding his Honda HRC, that's damn, man, that is a tough. There's a great YouTube video that somebody sent me the other day that one of these riders, it actually might have been Ricky, goes through how his road book works on the motorcycle, right? He's explaining everything on the dash of his motorcycle. And then he's like, oh yeah, okay, so you press this button and the roll goes up and you get the next thing. And then I look over here and this is the GPS and this is my heading and all this sort of stuff. And then they do a demo where he's got a GoPro on his helmet and he's looking down at it and it's just like a blur of things moving around. Like there's bushes coming through and everything. And you're like, I don't know how they do. I don't know how they do anything. It's amazing.
Pretty impressive. Yeah. Riding the motorcycle and navigating without a co-driver, etc. Yeah. I feel like they should have a sidecar class, but they haven't really instituted that, despite my multiple suggestions of a sidecar class.
Right. I know you've been lobbying them for that for some time. Yeah. Well, Monster Energy Honda doing a great job. And then, of course, followed right behind, only 3 minutes behind, the Red Bulls, of course, on their KTM Overland bikes. So it's a tight race there between the Honda and the KTM guys, and Monster Energy or Red Bull. So pick your energy drink and pick your motorcycle manufacturer. Yeah. Now, I will say that the Honda Monster team is maybe not entirely Americans, but it's like 2/3 Americans. So kind of cool.
Very cool.
Could be a U.S. win.
Well, I'm excited to see what happens. It looks like a nail biter. Speaking of events, we had a little event up here in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, yeah.
On New Year's Day.
That's like a tradition now. How many years have they been doing that event?
You know, I don't know the answer to that. It's not really officially a PCRC event. Doug Shipman, the owner of Ships Mechanicals, invites a few people out for a New Year's Day run. And traditionally, it's kind of been a meeting of the minds, if you will, of the local Land Rover Club and the local Jeep clubs. A few of those groups go out and do a New Year's Day run. And usually it's like some harder, more difficult trails, and people that are not quite as shy about possibility of damaging their vehicles. So this year was no exception. We had another tight, very tree-laden trail. And there was definitely quite a bit of dents and dings and damage. It's really a tight trail for especially the coil-sprung vehicles, you know, the Defenders and the Range Rovers and Discoveries. They struggle to get through the trees without bumping into stuff, and there's a lot of like sheer drops with tight turns, so it's kind of like trialing.
I was gonna say
really tight, and it's a fun one. So I brought the 80-inch because that's basically cheating, and it did really well. I was only one of 2 cars, I think, that didn't have to winch. You know, sometimes you're winching like to pull the cars around trees and so forth, but the Tillamook National Forest is really a beautiful place to experience this. You know, kind of the classic Pacific Northwest terrain with big, tall, coniferous trees, you know, rocks, and some high mountain lakes and that sort of thing. So really beautiful setting for this event, and there's a great selection of trails up there and some really fun ones. Yeah.
So. Does the cheddar, does it occur naturally in the Tillamook forest?
Yeah, they send people out to pick it.
To forage it,
It grows under those Douglas firs. They have to kind of scrape away the pine needles, and then they scoop up the cheddar in a big basket.
A foraging basket.
They tow it back to the factory with a cheese baler.
The cheese baler.
So anyway, that's how that works.
Yeah, no, and it's a delicious, naturally occurring Tillamook cheddar there in the woods. Well, that's good. What other kind of cars went out besides the 80-inch?
So
you guys would...
Jason brought his 88.
Yep.
So he's got a 1960 88 Series 2. And he brought the 80-inch, and then there was a hybrid Defender of Doug Shipman's. It's got sort of a series front end, and I think it's a true 90-inch wheelbase, but it's coil springs and lockers and so forth. So that's kind of a neat truck. And then there was a classic Range Rover that's kind of all kitted out, bumpers and sliders and lots of dents, and a Discovery 1 and a Discovery 2 and a NAS D90 owned by Steve Schoenfelter, formerly of the Warren Industries. So there's some like industry professional types, and then there's some just, you know, kind of web wheeler type guys, you know, that are really excited about four-wheel driving. And a fellow named Rand comes. He's associated with the PCRC, and he's got a few Land Rovers, and he's become quite a good off-roader. He's got a a Instagram channel. I'm trying to think of the name of it. We'll put it in the show notes, but he takes a lot of footage of Pacific Northwest snow wheeling. Cool. So he's got a pretty good following related to that stuff, because this is the time of year for snow wheeling.
And was it pretty snowy?
It was not super snowy up in Tillamook, but the last few weeks around Olali Lake and at elevation, we've had a ton of snow with a lot of precipitations, and there's a lot of people out there getting stuck and having fun out there in the forest. So it's been fun to see those guys
off-road snow.
Yeah. So we had a great time over the New Year's weekend. I think it was actually on the 3rd.
Yeah.
But great event if you can get out there and do that, and you're not too shy about the possibility of serious damage. One year we had a pretty significant rollover. One of the Jeep fellows rolled his XJ, and it slid down a hill, and a stump went through the windshield. So it was kind of like wedged on its side with a stump through the windshield. So we had to pull it back up the slope to just tip it back up on its wheels. Yeah. It was a long day. But
did that drive out of there, or did it have to get pulled out?
It was towed out of the forest, and then they did get it going. They did get it driving. But it's quite a bit of winching in a sort of technical area. So we had to get the Tier 4 out, and we had to do a couple of snatch blocks. It was kind of a neat recovery.
It's kind of fun, yeah. What do you think about the online recovery channels, like the Matt's Off-Road Recovery and those kind of?
I don't really follow them too much, but I understand that's like wildly popular format, and I don't quite understand how that's gained like a mass appeal, like following around a tow truck driver, like.
Yeah.
People love
it. Hugely popular. And it's mostly recovering side-by-sides that the wheel is broken off, seems to be primarily. But now his channel specifically, I think, has turned more into like a builder's channel. Like they're building new tow trucks, they're building rollbacks, they're doing all this kind of crazy off-road trucky building things. But, he's a big Corvair guy, loves Corvairs.
Yeah, he has I've seen that he calls it the Morvair.
Yeah.
It's like got some kind of drivetrain swap, and it's on big tires and stuff, but it's a Corvair station wagon.
Corvair body, yeah.
It's super cool. Like an orphan vehicle. I like seeing that stuff. Every once in a while I'll follow some of those European rock crawlery guys, and there's just the weirdest, neat little things. Fiat with giant tires, and those Icelandic guys do some nutty stuff.
Some super thin. And there's the Russians that are little Yugos and stuff like that.
A lot of Neva.
A lot of Neva, man. Yeah, with monster truck tires on it. Which is,
basically, So that stuff is fun to see. It's just a little bit different than just another Jeep or
exactly
Toyota.
Exactly. We got plenty of.
The whole undercarriage is replaced anyway. What's the body matter?
It doesn't matter, right? Yeah, it's essentially a tube buggy with some kind of a body on top. It's like an RC car. It's just one of those plastic bodies that you put on top. So why not make it something fun? Maybe time to body swap the Freelander with something decent. I'll have to see. Give it some thought.
I don't know why you just don't drive that thing every day.
I did find another one. It was originally they were asking $2,500 for it. It's now down to $2,000. I am waiting until they're offering $1,000 to pick it up.
Yeah, I think you could it's probably not far.
No, I don't. I think, again, it's one of those things where now I'm sort of looking for a car for the UK that I'll probably leave over there. I kind of want a little, like a short wheelbase something or other, maybe a little Defender 90, a 300 TDI or something. But I could also just get a Freelander. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just would like something to be able to go green laning and stuff when I'm over
Freelander.
there. Yeah, a diesel Freelander would be great.
Yeah.
Maybe. And then I could put monster truck tires on it and then go off-roading. Well, we'll have to consult the UK Commission of Vehicle Customization there and see if we can make that work. We'll have to see. But in closing, one news item this week, the latest quarter GDP numbers are out, and Jaguar Land Rover is responsible for 0.3% growth in the UK GDP, which is pretty funny because they were probably responsible for 25% reduction in GDP.
Hey, well, improvement is good news, and I'm glad to hear things are turning around for them, but it just feel like a little bit of a yo-yo here. We're 2 shows removed from the news of a significant third quarter GDP drop, and now we're seeing some improving numbers. So I guess that's great.
Yeah. I don't know that you should be celebrating when you caused the problem and now you're sort of taking credit for recovery, but whatever. Hey, who am I to say?
It's just like Schrodinger's business model. It's just like it's successful and not successful
at the same time. Yes, it exists in all states.
Jerry works here and also doesn't work here.
It also doesn't work here. Yeah, it's a quantum physics exercise every time you talk about JLR these days. It's a good point. I've heard nothing about Jerry ever since the news broke and then unbroke.
We are called Land Rover, but also we're not called Land Rover.
Oh, that's right.
But also the LR in our name does not stand for Land Rover.
No, it just stands for LR. Yeah. And McGovern is in and he's out. We don't know. We don't know. He exists in many states at the same time.
Flood the zone.
Flood the zone. Keep people guessing. That's what keeps people buying Range Rovers. So, well, with that, it's been a slice. We will talk to you next week.
Have a good week. See you then.
The Underpowered Hour is produced by Liza Beres, Ike Goss, and me, Steve Beres. Pavel Svardov composed and performed our theme music. Consider supporting the show on Patreon, and if you already do, thank you. Your support makes the show possible. For even more, check out our Instagram or Facebook.